Well, welcome to Wega's shout out for a game week 16. It's the last one before the World Cup. So it's just I'm going to give you a breakdown of the fixtures tomorrow and Sunday and who's playing, who's definitely ruled out. And also I'm going to have a little discussion about the new Brighton manager, Roberto De Zerbi. Okay, very, very interesting stuff if you like Brighton. It's just my take on where Tottenham are and what's going wrong and my attitude towards them because I'm wearing this shirt. It's the only Holston one I have. It was my first ever shirt I bought with Tottenham back around the 1999 era. The last time we won, well, 2008 won a cup and then 99, and then it's been a desert since 1991. And I got a bit of stick on a Tottenham forum on YouTube for forgetting about that. It's actually two we've won since 1991. But I said one, but to me it doesn't make a difference. Like one, two, who cares? 2008, of course, Jonathan Woodgate, and 99, the famous Ginola one. It was just a slip of thought, but like that's the sort of fans you're dealing with out there in Etherverse. The very, very literal fans, and they're not thinkers, and they call people like us thinkers silly. So that's where I am. I'm a thinking man's person when it comes to football, and just because we're fourth and we've qualified for the second round of the Champions League, that doesn't wash the football, the style, the whole lot is 10 times as bad. Mourinho seemed to be more interesting and attacking, and at least you know give it a go. But what we're doing now is just 10 times worse than Mourinho. Parking the bus for 45 minutes, hoping it's 0-0, sneak a 1-0. Spurs haven't scored in the first half of a game for 9 matches. And we're meant to be we're called silly fans because we don't like the football. And you know what I mean, it is what it is. Why don't you accept it? You should be happy. That's not Spurs. What's going on at Tottenham now at the moment is nothing to do with Bill Nicholson. I trust you. But anyway, let's get over the team news first. Anyway, Man City versus Brentford. Okay, so no help from Pep today at all whatsoever. Apparently, Haaland's got some sort of a niggle still. He's a little bit better. He is training. Pep said, "We'll see." Okay, so we know Haaland came off the bench the other day to get that win over Fulham, scoring the penalty. So fair enough. I don't think he was played. He was an unused sub against the Chelsea Carabao match the other night during midweek. So we're still in the dark now. There's 12:30 kickoff. Okay, so basically, do you want to take the risk of early team news and wait? I wouldn't bother. I'm just going to assume on that 30 minutes that it's good enough for him to start, and he's not start. So he's playing for Norway, big match against Italy in the World Cup. It's a 50-50. I'm a bit scared, but Alvarez, he's had 5 matches in a row and he's played 90 minutes the other day for Chelsea. So is it likely Haaland and Alvarez will be paired? I'm not sure. It's happened before, but we'll have to see. There's no news on Foden whatsoever. Walker is still out, but he's going to the World Cup. Phillips is back. Tony is back from suspension. And for Bradford, Christian Norgard is back, along with Vitaly Janlet. And that's basically all we have on that fixture. This game week now is basically what they call a dead end team. You can do what you like. There's a lot of people looking to have a 1 week punt because after this game week and things reset and all the points have been given for game week 16, game week 17 will commence and you can mess away with your transfers, have unlimited all the way for the month up until mid-December. And then you'll have to confirm for game week 17. But the catch here is any transfers you make, they'll be included on your overall. So it's not like the free wild card you get before, where none of the transfers count. So be careful making any transfers. The only things I will be doing is after the World Cup's over, I'll see who's injured and then I'll make transfers dependent. It's just basically a status, a freeze, over this. So be careful with the transfers because depending on how many you make during the season, if you finish on the same points, your competitor who's had less transfers will edge above you. And it makes thousands difference here and there. Bournemouth versus Everton. Mepham is banned for accumulating 5 yellows, so he's out. Neto, Kelly, and Brooks are still injured for Bournemouth. Calvert DCL Dominic Calvert-Lewin is apparently has up to 3 injuries. He broke down the other night in the cup match. Hammy, shoulder, and knee apparently. Godfrey and Townsend are still out. Liverpool and Southampton, and that's tomorrow. Lots of people looking at Salah. He's definitely back after the 2 against Spurs. Another 2-0. That's another like 5 or 6 2-0s in a row or something that Spurs. Well, okay, they won the 2-1 against Brighton, but they're losing a lot 2-0s recently. Milner is back after his concussion protocol. Luis Diaz and Naby Keita are back, but only light running. Joel Matip is training again. Nathan Jones, the new manager of Southampton from Yeovil. No team news really. It was all about him and where he was coming and this and that. Walker Peters, however, and Livramento are still out for Southampton. Luis Diaz is worth a mention. 7.8 million now. He's dropped a couple of mil, 0.2 mil there. So he could be interesting for a wild card if you get straight back. Assess him. If he's, I think he's in the World Cup with Spain. I think so. I think he's gone in the squad. I don't know, but if he is, watch his form at the World Cup. Forest versus Palace. Zaha, it was played as an out and out up top, number 10 or number 9, whichever way. Number 9 maybe. Played up front for Palace, and he got 2 returns against West Ham in their 2-1 win. So the everybody's watching for Odsonna Edouard, former Celtic man, whether he is traveling to the game or to Forest, but the manager will assess Eduardo's fitness and decide whether to go. So if he doesn't go with Edouard, it's possible Zaha fans, whoever, if you own him, you could be in with another burst. But just keep an eye on. You won't get early team news, but it's good to have Zaha these days. I'm thinking about him myself, but I love my midfield. So Chris Edwards, Hammy, James MacArthur, groin, they're all still out. With Nathan Ferguson is still out. He needs more game time, but he won't be playing. He'll be playing under 21's match or something. So a late call on Edouard. Nico Williams, a bit of an issue there if you have him in your assets. Oyer at right back has been playing pretty well. He's done well against his old club Spurs, as I know of my being so miffed off with it out of another cup. Not going to go on a rant here now. But he's got a positional rival there. Oyer could be in with a shout there. So just watch that space if you own Williams. Spurs versus Leeds. Session has a little problem. He won't be playing tomorrow now against Leeds. So Perisic should be free at left back. Emerson will probably play instead of Doherty, who played all the minutes of that shambles of Forest. Congratulations to Forest, by the way. Spurs played a good team, but Richarlison and Kulusevski will still be watched, even though Kulusevski came back and assisted in the Prem. He's trained a little bit, and on match day they'll assess more. But Richarlison and Kulusevski are very, very close. Whether Richarlison would be risked from the beginning because of Brazil and all this and that, they're not sure. It's best probably for him to, and Kulusevski possibly, to be kind of rest. But Spurs need to win against Leeds. Otherwise, it's basically the only thing that will save Spurs is the World Cup, and they have a month to hope and pray Dyer and co play themselves into some sort of form. Because if it keeps going, that World Cup has probably saved Spurs season. If they can beat Leeds tomorrow, it's the luckiest timing, because they couldn't beat the Dog and Duck from out in Dorking or wherever they're from. at the minute. Right, West Ham versus Leicester. James Justin is out for the season, unfortunately. Terrible injury problems have carried on with his. He's ruptured another Achilles. So against Newport, which was aimless. Newport is devastating for the young lad. Johnny Evans is back though. For West Ham, Cornet is definitely out with a calf, and Emerson Palmieri is out with a broken nose, and Solienchu for Leicester is still out. No news really of what's happening with him. Okay, apart from that, it's all okay for Leicester and West Ham. Newcastle versus Chelsea. Callum Wilson is an interesting one. He's training away okay. He's training away from people. He's got this illness again, whatever the illness is. I won't mention the C word. Also out for Newcastle is Fraser, Kraft, and Ritchie. They need to make a decision on Callum if he's fit to play. That's basically a late decision. So it's likelihood that he'll be on the bench. He might start, okay, but possibly that Chris Wood will get the start again. And he didn't let himself down the other day either with his goal. Jorginho is back for Chelsea, but Chelsea have terrible injury problems. No James, no Chilwell, Kepa, Kante, and Fofana are all still out. Right, Wolves versus Arsenal. Now Arteta is just basically said there's not much really that's changed apart from Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu are out. Everyone else is free. With Wolves, Diego Costa's got one more match to serve of his suspension, says Steve Davis, another new Wolves manager. But Bruno Larga, was he? I thought it's just all changed. Also, Nunez is fit, but Johnny is out with a hammy. Okay, so that's that. Brighton and Villa. Jakob Mulder's knee, he's the only problem for Brighton, but all is fine, says Roberto De Zerbi. Emery says there's no major injuries. We've said they're like Emery's the ex-Arsenal manager has said there's no other injuries except Coutinho and Carlos are still out. Fulham and Man United. Mitrovic is out. He's out, guys. No way he's playing. If he's playing tomorrow, you can sue me for a penny. I value a pound maybe, but that's all. So Annie and giving us some sort of hazard reading and advice. Please do not take any advice on board. This is just for your own information, and take it or leave it. If a guy throws you a bone, if a guy throws a dog a bone, I don't want the dag coming back asking me this doesn't, or telling me this doesn't taste right. It is what it is. Right, so Mitrovic is out, so Cabano and Sullivan and Reed, that's the central holding midfielder, is out. Deco Reed is back as well. Martial and Rashford, they could be a punt anyway. They're all firing. Minute and Dalot and Dalot is suspended. And that's about it. So we just got to the end of this now before I'll just pause this.